Start by creating a Google form by clicking here. Name your competition. I make this competition for 4 teams. The type of question should be multiple choice. I also set it to be a compulsory question. Then I push the plus sign here to add another question. Here I add the names of all participants of the 4 teams. This is not really necessary, but it will be easier to sort out later if there are any problems, if someone forgets who caught what fish and so on. You might also want to add individual results later. And since we only have 1 species this time, we don't need to have a choice for species, but can go directly to the length. This time you need to change the type of question to short answer. And I also put what unit I want the length to be in. Since I live in Sweden, we use centimeters, but you can choose inches or whatever you like, even kilograms or pounds. Now we are ready with the form and can push the I symbol here to try it out. Let's report a few fishes and then we will go on with the next stage of this setup. Team A, name of angler, Ace, 55 centimeters. Team A, Angus, 48 centimeters. Team A, Angus, 50 centimeters. Team A, Ace, 75 centimeters. And Team A, Angus, 53 centimeters. Now, let's see what it looks like in Google Sheets. If you look up here, you can see that there are 5 fishes reported. Now we push this tab and we can see a summary of what's been caught. To be able to make a competition out of this, we need to set up a Google Sheet to make the calculations. So we push the green symbol here to open up Google Sheets. And now this is important. I will change my language setting to the USA, even though I live in Sweden. For some reason, Google Sheets use different signs in the formulas depending on what language you use. So if you're making the programming with Google Sheets set to another language, you might find that the formulas we are going to use don't work. This tab here is where all the answers arrive. I usually just leave its name as it is. Now push the plus sign here to create a new tab. I will make a new tab for each team in the competition. I will now name these tabs according to the team's names. So I write Team A, Team B, Team C and Team D. Now let's go to Team A. And now I write into cell A1 this code, =, query. And then I push the tab where the answers arrive. This way I will get the text here as exactly as it is. And then I write select A, C, D, where B is team A, order by D, and then 1. Now let's report another fish for team A so we see that it works. And as you can see, this fish goes in between the other fishes. I will now take a few minutes to explain the code, because it will be easier for you to find out what's wrong if it doesn't work as you expect it to later on. As you see, we are in the tab for team A, and cell A1 is highlighted. Up here you can see the code that is written into cell A1. Query is like asking a question. The orange text here is where the program is going to look for the answer. And as you can see, it refers to this page here and the columns A to E. I don't know why I have E here. We could just as well have a D, because as you can see, there is nothing in column E. But it doesn't matter now, I leave it as it is. Now, the next part of the code says that it's going to choose columns A, C and D. And those are timestamp, angler and length of fish. Then it's going to copy the text of those cells in the row where column B equals team A. Order by D tells the program to order the results when it's shown on the team A tab. I'm not sure, but I think the 1 is for ordering from lowest to highest. I think you can just leave it out if you'd like, but since I'm not sure what it does really, so I keep it here, because this way I know it works. Now copy the code from cell A1 here and paste it into cell A1 on the tab for team B. You also need to change one thing in the code for each team. So here I change team A for team B. And here I change it to team C, and here I change it to team D. Now I will test by adding a new fish to team B and C, just to make sure that it ends up under the right tab. And when we look at the first tab on our sheet, the tab where all the reported fish end up, we can see that these 2 fish are added at the end of the list. And if everything is done right, the 60 centimeter fish from Bon will be shown on team B's tab. And the 77 centimeter fish by Chuck will be on the team C tab. Now we are going to add another tab. So I push the team D tab to make sure that the new tab I'm making ends up to the right of the team D tab. I rename this new tab Results. In this competition, I want each team's 5 biggest fish count, and if a team catches more than 5 fish, the shortest fish shall be replaced with a new one. The team with the longest big 5 will win the competition. So I start by adding fish 1, fish 2, and so on into cell B1, and I finish with total length in cell G1. Then I add a team's name in cell A2 and down. So here goes Team A, Team B, Team C and Team D. Now let's just take a quick look into one of the team's tabs. Notice that the fish are displayed vertically here. Now back to the Results tab, and here I want the fish to be displayed horizontally. So we enter this code into cell B2. Equal sign transpose. Transpose changes the list from vertically to horizontally. Query means the program is asking a question, and the orange part here tells the program where to look. It's going to look in this tab, and instead of typing the code, I push the tab I want, and then I drag in the C column to choose which cells to look in. If I drag from C2 to C7, the query will only look for the answers in those cells. So if another fish is added to this team, it will end up in cell C8, and the query won't find it. But if we get rid of the number 7, it will instead use the rest of the C column, which means that no matter how many fish we add, the query will find them. Now let's continue with the coding. Just remember that the code we are writing now is for cell B2 on the Results tab. The reason we see the Team A tab is that we needed to choose the cells from where to get the data. So, rabbit ears, select C, order by C. That means that we arrange them from largest number to the smallest. Descending limit 5, which means that it will just display the 5 longest fish. If we just want 3 fish to count in the competition, we would change this number to 3. And then we end with rabbit ears again. The rest should autofill, I think. Then we press enter and we go to the actual cell where we put the code, cell B2 on the Results tab. And now we can see the 5 longest fish for Team A displayed here. Now we are going to copy this code to use it for the other teams. So just select cell B2 and then drag the handle down to cell B5. Don't worry about what it shows right now. Start by selecting cell B3 and then change the orange text C3 to C2. Then select cell B4 and change the orange text so it starts on C2. And then do the same for cell B5, like this. Now go back to cell B3. Since this row will display the fish for Team B, we need to change. You see the code here, it says Team A. We change this into Team B. so the program will look in the Team B tab for the answers. Then we do the same thing for cell B4, but since that cell is for Team C, we changed it to Team C. And likewise for cell B5. And you can see that the two last fish that we reported for Team B and C will show up correctly in the correct team row. Since it is the 5 longest fish that will decide the standings in the competition, we needed a program to sum up every team's 5 longest fish, and that is easily done. Just write the equal sign into cell G2 and the code to sum the 5 cells should appear. If you don't see the code, just write the code you see here in my cell. The orange dotted line is the cells that will be summed up. Press enter. Now we are going to copy this code for the rest of the teams, and the easiest way to do this is to click the cell G2 to get the handle, and then drag the handle down to cell G5. Now it's time to add the last tab, and this is the tab that is to be shown on everyone's mobiles. Start by selecting the Results tab to make sure that this new tab ends up to the right of this before you press the plus button here. I name this tab Results Pub, since this is the page that's going to be published. I then add the permanent text, rank 1, 2, 3 and 4, and up here I write team and total length. After that, I just make a few changes to the text and background color. Here you can get creative and do whatever you like. Then I write this into cell B2, equal sign, query. And then I push the Results tab and drag over the area where I want to look for the answers. Now when I continue the code, I think I accidentally used the Swedish separator here. It should be just an ordinary comma here, but it seems like autocorrect takes care of this when I press enter, so I didn't notice this when I wrote the code. So we select the A and G columns, then order by G, descending limit 4, since we're just 4 teams. And when we press enter, we get back to the Results Pub tab, and now we can see that the comma is in place, just as it should, and the teams are ordered by the total length of the fish. Now you can adjust this table so that it suits your needs. You can adjust the width of the columns, for instance. I double-click the border between columns A and B so that the A column adjusts itself after the text you have here. Then I change the color of the rows just to make it easier to read. Now I will add a few fish for Team D, just to see that everything works as expected. So I open the Google form and push the I symbol to report another fish. Team D, David, 100 centimeters. Then I push the Google Sheet tab to see that this last fish is added as it should in every tab where it should be added. And this fish brings Team D up to second place. So I go back to the form to report yet another fish. Team D, Dolly, 95 centimeters. Now there is just one more thing I want to try before we are finished. If we go to the results tab, we can see that the shortest fish on Team A's list is 50 centimeters. So I will now report a longer fish, just to see that the 50 centimeter fish is pushed out. Team A, A's 65 centimeters. And now we can see that the 50 centimeters fish is gone from the list, just as it should be. Now it's time to publish the results pub page so everyone with a link can view it. We also need to send a link for the form where the fish are reported to those who are going to compete. Before I publish, I will do some small adjustments. As you can see, I have put all the text in the center of each cell. I did that by marking each column and then centralize it. You can do this with all the cells at once, but when I recorded this, I made one column at a time. Next thing I do is that I add a black border to the right of the numbers, because I noticed that sometimes the last column is cut off when you view it in a browser. But if they cut off my black column, it doesn't really matter. You can change the width of the columns manually, but since I suppose this will be viewed on a mobile phone, I like to keep it as narrow as possible. To be able to follow the live reports while you're fishing, you and your friends need to be able to both report and view the results while you're fishing. So now I'm going to show you how to add both the form and the sheet to your mobile phone. First, we will send a form where the competitors can report their catches. I usually do it this way. I push send and then choose the link sign here in the middle. I normally choose to shorten the link. This link I then send to my friends who I'm going to compete with or against. Now it's time to send a link to the results page. Start by choosing File and then Publish to the web. Change the settings from Entire Document to the tab you want to publish. In this case, I will choose Team's Result Pub. When you push Publish, you will get a link. Copy this link and send it to those who you want to be able to see the results. When you receive the links, the easiest way to use them is to put them as a shortcut on your phone. This is how I do it on my Samsung S10 Plus. Now I will do the same with the results sheet. Click the link and the results are seen. If you are the creator of the app, you need to make sure it is open through a browser. If you open the link through Google Drive, you can edit the page. And now I will add this page to my start screen just to be able to open it easily. This is what it looks like on my phone. Now I push the purple icon here to open the form, and I will report another fish. Team C, Chuck, 82 centimeters. Then I open the results page, and as you can see, this last fish doesn't show up. Is there something wrong? No, it is because the results are only updated every 5 minutes, as it says down here. So it's not 100% live, but almost. Now ask your friends to test the app to see that it works as it should. Before you go out to run a competition with your friends, you need to reset the results. This is how you do that. From the form's edit page, you choose the tab Answers. Here you can see that there are 14 answers. Push the 3 dots and delete all answers. Now open the Google Sheet that is connected to the form. Choose the first tab, Form Responses 1, or whatever it might be called in English. Select the rows you want to delete, then right-click and choose Delete Rows 2 to 13, or what rows you want to delete. Now everything is set to start the competition. I hope you found this tutorial useful. I will put up another tutorial soon where I show you how to make a competition with several species. So if you like to run your own competitions, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next tutorial.